Hello, welcome to Huawei HMS Ecosystem Lecture Hall. In this course, we mainly learn Huawei Account System, Account Kit. This video is based on HMS 4.0 version. Huawei Account is a simple and safe login authorization function provided by Huawei for developers, which may facilitate users' rapid login. Through learning of this video, you may easily learn the principle of realization, ability, and the characteristics of Huawei Account, and how to rapidly access and use Huawei Account in your app. To realize this objective, it requires 3 stages. 1. Know about the ability, characteristics, and the framework principle of Account Kit. 2. Prepare the work for accessing Account Kit SDK. 3. Through explanation of the key Account Kit interface, help developers understand the design and realization principle of Account Kit from the perspective of code. Okay, first of all, let's see how many advantages Huawei's Account Kit has. We may simply summarize them into 4 points.
The first point, the standard is unified and it is applicable to home things. How to understand this? Huawei's Account Kit provides the unified interface service. Whether you use the cell phone, tablet, PC, or wearable device, or various cloud services provided by Huawei, such as Huawei Game Center and the Huawei Application Market, you may get through all the things through one account system. Such a design may not only bring comfortable experience to users, but also greatly save the development cost for us developers. After using it, you will find that it is a win-win system.
Alright, let's look at the second point. A huge number of users globalize the services. It is more than a slogan. Up to November 2019, Huawei Account System serves over 190 countries and regions, supports over 17 languages, and has over 500 million active users. Third, it is safe and reliable. In addition to fully achieving the consistency of the international standard protocol of OAuth 2.0 and OpenID Connect, Huawei Account System also adapts the dual verification mode of high-security password verification and cell phone number. It needs to specially indicate that Huawei Account System passes the highest level GDPR privacy standard of EU, which is very difficult. It fully indicates that we have the ability of protecting users' privacy. The fourth point, simple process. It only takes 3 steps to be the owner of the Huawei account. 1. Fill in the basic information. 2. Verify the email box or cell phone number. 3. Set the password. It's so simple and very friendly to users. That's all for the advantages. Now let's see what main functions Huawei's Account Kit provides. We will introduce only 5 main functions of Huawei's Account Kit. For more functions, please log in on the official website of Huawei Developers Alliance. For Huawei Account System abides by the OAuth 2.0 protocol and OpenID Connect standard protocol. Therefore, the first 2 are about the authorized login modes supported by it, and they are the main functions. The first point, the mode of authorization code. We will firstly explain what is authorization code. Authorization code is the one-time authorization code. The authorization code and the allocated app secret are mainly used for identity authorization on the OAuth server. The mode of authorization code is a temporary authorization build mode. It is only applicable to the application with its own server. For the concrete content, we will expand on it in the following practical training camp. The second point, the mode of ID token. Let's explain what is ID token. ID token is the identity information of users that have logged in, including the signature information used to verify the identity information. Therefore, the mode of ID token is the mode of user's identity Authentication information. This mode is applicable to both the single machine application and the application with its own server. The concrete contents will be introduced in the following practical training camp. That's all about the two main authorization modes. Let's see what information can be obtained after authorization. This is the third point. Gain users' basic information. After successful authorization, the application may obtain users' basic information, such as profile photo and nickname, etc. This basic information can be displayed in a third-party app. You may have such a question. I've authorized so many apps, so is there any place of unified management? This is the fourth point, authorized application management. HUAWEI Account Center provides the platform of managing the authorized application. Users may conveniently manage the authorized applications in HUAWEI Account Center. For example, if users want to cancel the authorization of an application, they do not have to log in on the related application. Instead, they may do this in HUAWEI Account Center. It's so convenient, isn't it? The fifth point, cancellation of authorization. This is a basic function through which developers may cancel authorization. Alright, that's all about the advantages of HUAWEI Account Kit. Now it's time for the practical training camp you've been long expecting. Part 2. Practical Training Camp. We divide the main contents of the practical training camp into two parts. 1. The setting of usage scenario of HUAWEI Account Kit and the demonstration of demo through concrete scenarios. Let's deepen our understanding of HUAWEI Account System through a small demo. We will show the use of HUAWEI Account System more concretely. 2. Practical training of HUAWEI Account Kit. This is about the code that developers are concerned about the most. Alright, let's first look at the first part. Scenario setting of Account Kit and demo demonstration. We all have such experience. We've installed many apps on our cell phone. We have to keep registering and logging in, and setting username and password. It's a big headache to memorize this information. We still have to worry about the safety of our personal information left on each app, and these are not expected by us. If you use a HUAWEI account, all these problems can be easily solved. You no longer have to register, set passwords, and memorize them. We will introduce the safety of HUAWEI account information and the compliance of the privacy protection. It is fully reliable. Let's give a concrete example. Suppose that we love reading books. We may choose to log in with a HUAWEI account when needed, and then authorize the reading software. The reading software gets the basic information of users, which may be displayed to users. HUAWEI Account System ensures the safety of user information. It may meet the demands of the reading software and bring safe and rapid experience to users. Next, let's show how users realize convenient and rapid authorization and login through HUAWEI account with a small demo. This is an app for reading. When we choose Adding to Bookshelf, we will jump to the login page, in which we can use our authorized HUAWEI account to log. If you are a new user with a HUAWEI account, you need to log in first, namely enter your username and password. Please take notice that your information on this page is encrypted, which is unobtainable to any other third-party applications. After successful login, it will jump to the authorized login page, which is the page authorized by HUAWEI account for this reading app. Here, your HUAWEI account information available to this app after authorization will be presented, such as your avatar, nickname, and so on. For the first authorization, user's manual confirmation is required. After successful authorization, your basic information of HUAWEI account will be displayed, such as the avatar and the nickname. This is the process of authorized login with HUAWEI account. Next, Let's look at the process of revoking authorization and logging in again after it. Click the Cancel button. After the authorization is canceled successfully, it will return to the Reading app. And when we click Adding to Bookshelf, we will jump to the authorized login page of Huawei account again. At the same time, our manual confirmation of authorization is required again, only after authorization is achieved. Can we continue to use our Huawei account? It should be emphasized that users can cancel the authorization of third-party applications at any time in their Huawei account center, which reflects the security of Huawei's account as mentioned above. Let's learn about the function of exiting Huawei account and the process of logging in again after exiting. Click the X button and go back to the Reading app and click Adding to Bookshelf. After jumping to Login page, select Login with a Huawei account. After successful login, it will directly jump to the user information display page. Because we have finished the authorization before. Therefore, instead of jumping to the authorized login page, we will directly return the basic information of our Huawei account, showing the advantage of one-time authorization and convenient login. With only one Huawei account, users can easily log in to other applications, which contributes to low cost and great convenience both to users and third-party applications. How we realize the experience in demo. How the internal process is designed. Now, let's come to the second part, the practical training section of the application. First of all, we'll explain the authorization process of Huawei account. This is the central part, which we will expand on. We know that Huawei account supports two modes of authorized login. From the diagram, we may see that the left diagram is the mode of authorization code, and the right diagram is the mode of ID token. Let's firstly look at the mode of authorization code mode. Before introduction, we will interpret some phrases. Authorization code. We mentioned before that it is a one-time authorization code. It is used for identity authentication on the OAuth server. ID token. We mentioned before that it is identity information of users that have logged in, including the signature information used to verify the identity information. Access token. It is the token for access to user resources, equal to a key. Refresh token. It is the token for obtaining the new access token after the old access token is overdue. Alright, let's continue to see the authorization process of the authorization code mode. Here is the overall process. We will explain by it step by step by looking at the diagram. Step 1. Users select to log in on the application by choosing Huawei account mode on the app terminal, just like what is displayed in the login page of our demo. Launch the login request to HMS SDK. Step 2. Huawei account pulls up the interface of user's login authorization. The interface will display the contents of authorization to be notified to users according to the authorized domain information, namely scope carried in the login request. Users click Confirm. Step 3. Huawei Account Authorization Center returns the information of authorization code. Step 4. The application client uploads the authorization code to the application server. Step 5. The application server exchanges for information like access token, refresh token, and ID token through the authorization code. Step 6. The application server uses access token to obtain users' information like OpenID from Huawei Account Authorization Center. If the access token or ID token is overdue, the application server may use the refresh token to obtain the new information of access token and ID token. The authorization process is thus finished. Let's see what's the process of the ID token mode. The overall process of the ID token mode is like this. We'll explain it by accompanying the flow diagram. Step 1. Launch the login request. Users select the login mode of Huawei account to log in at the app client. The application launches the login request to HMS SDK. Step 2. Users confirm authorization. Huawei account pulls up the interface of users login authorization. The interface will display the contents of authorization to be notified to users according to the authorized domain information, namely scope carried in the login request. Users confirm to approve authorization. Step 3. Huawei Account Authorization Center returns the information of access token and ID token. Step 4. The app client sends the access token and ID token to the application server to request the verification. Step 5. Verify the effectiveness of ID token. From the diagram, we can see that the two different authorization modes are different. The mode of authorization code is a temporary authorization mode. The authorization code has timeliness. When authorization code loses efficiency, the server side of the application needs to obtain the new authorization mode to obtain users' basic information. The mode of ID token is that the application directly gets the ID token information of users. Before use, the effectiveness of ID token needs to be verified. They have their own advantages and usage scenarios, which we will introduce in the following video. Now, we've explained the authorization process of Huawei Account Kit clearly. Now let's see how to access Account Kit to the app. From the diagram, we may see that the development process of Account Kit is divided into 3 steps. Step 1. Register the account of Huawei developers, aliens, and conduct the real-name authentication. Step 2. Prepare the work before development, which includes 4 steps. First of all, configure App Gallery Connect AGC. Second, add Huawei's Maven warehouse to the project build Gradle file. Third, configure the file of build Gradle in the catalog of the app. Fourth, configure the manifest file. Detailed steps can be seen in the official website of Huawei Developers Aliens. Let's see its concrete position in the official website. Open the official website of Huawei Developers Aliens. Move the mouse to Develop, and we can see Account Kit in the drop-down list. We open Account Kit and click View Documents on the page. The concrete page of the field development will shown after opening it. Preparations. We find Account Kit, App Development, Development Preparations in the left catalog. We click Development Preparations. On the right side, we may see the detailed steps for preparation work before development. No details will be displayed here. Developers may refer to them on their own. Alright, let's go back to our courseware. The third step is developing app. Let's enter the section of app development. First of all, integrate the Account Kit into your project. It requires 3 steps. Step 1. Open the build Gradle file onto the app catalog. Step 2. Add the dependence of Account Kit's SDK. Step 3. Click Sync Now and wait for Gradle being completed synchronously. Alright, let's see how it is configured in code. Code display. First of all, open the build Gradle file under the app catalog. Second, add the dependence of Account Kit SDK. Add it in the position of dependencies. The version we use here is 4.0.0.300. Then click Sync Now and wait for Gradle's being completed synchronously. Then we may use SDK of Account Kit. Next, we will introduce API of Huawei Account Kit. We will mainly introduce the mode of authorization code. From the flow diagram, we can see that its process can be divided into 6 steps. Let's firstly go over the process simply. In the following code part, we will expand on the connection of each project. Step 1. Create the Huawei ID auth params object. Step 2. Create the Huawei ID auth service object. Step 3. Users start activity for result to pull users authorization page. Step 4. Get the information we need in the method of on-activity result. Step 5. App server uses the authorization code to exchange for the information of access token, refresh token, and ID token. Step 6. App server uses the access token to exchange for the information of user's open ID. After access token is overdue, use refresh token to exchange for new information of access token, ID token. You may feel somewhat confused when hearing so many objects. That's okay. We just give you an impression just now. Next, we will expand on each object in the code part. We will create Huawei ID auth params object at first, which is the Huawei account authorization login parameters, containing the login mode selected by users and the authorized domain information, namely scope, which is the extent of components granted by users to third-party apps. The object is created by Huawei ID auth params helper object. Let's take a look at it. Its parameter is a Huawei ID params object. From the name, we can find that it is to build a Huawei ID auth params object, made by default parameter. Let's go inside the method. We can see that there are two parameters. One is the scope information. The other is the authorization information. The scope here is the scope information of the default login authorization. It exactly corresponds with what we said earlier. Okay, let's go back to the previous method and keep going on. The set authorization code method is also called. We can see it literally that it is setting the authorization code mode we adopted. Similarly, after going inside the method, we can find the permission info is created, namely the permission object, and a URI of the permission is added, from which we can learn that we are using the service auth code and the basic information. We may get a clear answer that this method is used to specify the authorization mode we use. That is authorization code mode. Well, let's go back to where we were. We've got Huawei ID auth params, the definition of Huawei ID auth params clearly. Let's give a glimpse of the second object created, Huawei ID auth service object. It uses the Huawei ID auth params object as the parameter. For thorough understanding, we will go inside again. We can see that there are several methods defined inside this object: logout, cancel authorization, silent login, and another method, getSign in intent. This method returns an intent object. As we all know, the intent object is the medium for activity to transmit information, and it contains the intent information to start the authorization activity. And now we also understand its function. It is an important object. Subsequent operations of the client need to be completed through its API. For example, pulling up the authorization page, logging out the Huawei account, canceling the authorization, and others. Alright, next, we will use the intent information, obtaining from Huawei ID auth service, getSign in intent, and call start activity for result method to pull up user's authorization page. Here, users can find the Huawei account authorization page in demo. After successful confirmation of the authorization, we can receive the information we need in onActivity result method. Next, let's learn how we get the information that Account Kit returned for us. In order to facilitate the developers to obtain basic user information, Huawei Account Kit encapsulates a powerful API. That is, Huawei ID auth manager pulls auth result from intent. We can know from the name that, with this method, we can obtain user login information from intent data. Let's take a specific look. This method returns a task object containing auth Huawei ID object, which is what we need. Let's find what information this object contains. All the information we need is here, such as get authorization code, display name, get avatar URI string, open ID, and so on. By doing this, we obtain users' basic information and may show it to users. The subsequent step is the interaction between the application server and a Huawei account server. Detailed use is shown in the official website of Huawei Developers Alliance. And that's all about the mode of authorization code. This is the most important authorization login mode. Next, let's have a simple look at the use of other APIs. It is very simple, so we will rapidly go it over, so that our developers may rapidly understand API of Account Kit and have an overall impression. This is API of Account Logout. The process of account logout is also divided into 4 steps. Step 1. Generate the Huawei ID auth params object. Step 2. Generates the Huawei ID auth service object. Step 3. Call signout method of Huawei ID auth service object to request HMS SDK to log out Huawei account. Step 4. Accept the returned result in the onComplete method of onComplete listener. Next, let's see the part in code. Step 1, Step 2. These 2 steps are the same with authorization, so we won't introduce them again. Step 3, call signout. This method is to request Huawei HMS SDK to exit Huawei account. After receiving the order, HMS SDK will clear Huawei account login information. After finishing cleaning, it will return the logout result to the application. By doing this, we may accept the returned result through the onComplete method in the onComplete listener of the monitoring interface. Let's see the function of authorization, cancellation, and the code. The use of authorization cancellation is divided into 4 steps. Step 1 generates the Huawei auth params object. Step 2 generates the Huawei ID auth service object. Step 3 call cancel authorization method of Huawei ID auth service. Propose the request of HMS SDK to cancel authorization. Step 4 return result through the onComplete method in onComplete listener of the monitoring interface. Attention! After authorization is cancelled, when users try to log in on it again, the application will require users to re-authorize and confirm it. We mentioned this before. Alright, let's now look at the code part. The first 2 steps are the same with those of authorization. We won't introduce them anymore. Step 3. Call cancel authorization method of Huawei ID auth service. Propose the request to HMS SDK to cancel authorization. After HMS SDK clears the authorization information of Huawei account, it returns results to the application. We may accept the returned result through the onComplete method in the onComplete listener of the monitoring interface. These 2 functions are simple to use. Let's see another authorization login mode. This is the mode of ID token. We introduced the mode of ID token in the previous authorization process. Let's emphasize its differences with authorization mode of authorization code here. There are mainly 2 points. 1. After the ID token mode is successfully authorized, it directly returns the information like ID token. 2. Before the use of ID token, the effectiveness needs to be verified. For more other information and use introduction, please refer to the data from the official website. Let's see its concrete position in the official website. It is under the same catalog with the previous preparations before development guide. We find Account Kit, App Development, Development Guide in the catalog on the left side. We click Development Guide. In the right side, we may see the detailed information of the development guidance for Account Kit. We won't introduce the concrete contents. Developers may refer to them on their own. That's all about contents of Huawei account system. Now, let's summarize it. In this video, we've mainly introduced the following contents. 1. Advantage of Account Kit.
2. Authorization process of Account Kit. 3. Integration of Account Kit. 4. Access of authorization mode of authorization code. 5. Logout of Account Kit. 6. Authorization
cancellation of account kit. Please refer to the following website, official website of Huawei Developers Alliance, for more data. If you have any question in this development process, you may also give feedback of the information through the following mode. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.